Anytime we're ready.
Our fancy today. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of Bardstown Independent School District. Since everyone's standing, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the minutes from our regular board meeting, 3/20/18.
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second? Any other comments or discussion regarding the minutes? If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving the regular board meeting minutes from 3/20/18, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is the confirmation and approval of the claims. We have Ms.
Good
Rogers.
afternoon. So regarding the April 2018 claims that are before you for approval, the total is $339,058.36. The Fund 1 total is $146,496.29. That's approximately $11,013 difference from last year, less I should say from last year. The primary reason for that is that at last April's board meeting, we paid $13,366 to Kenny for our 2016 workers' compensation audit bill. So it's a difference of a timing of payment, but then also just to explain a little bit what the audit bill is. So our bill for workers' compensation runs the calendar year, and it's based on your payroll expenditures. And so it's an estimation for what your future bills will be. And then you all know we have a step increase mid-year, and then also when you have a raise, there'll be increases. So the audit comes at the end of the year, and so this $13,366 is not unusual. It's typically what we pay. Now, just to let you know, next month we will pay a bill that's $38,000 for the 2017 audit. So it's timing of payment, and then also it's going to be more, and that's because our rate did not change, but our risk of exposure did because of the raise that we instituted last year. And then in Fund 400, our debt service, the total is $75,537.50, and that was for principal and interest on one bond payment.
Question on, so 10 on the bottom of the iPad page, vendor 51, total of 12,000. I just wondered what it was, so the official dues and fees, it's like $12,000. What is that?
I'm sorry, what's the vendor's name?
It says Bardstown High School 51, so it says dues and fees.
It's for officials' fees reimbursement for the period of October 17 through March 2018. So the high school activity account will pay for their officials, and then the revenue from the gate receipts is deposited down here in Fund 21, our district activity fund. So we're reimbursing them for paying for the officials for the game.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
I'll be abstaining, Madam President, or Madam Chairman, for the local President, Chairman, whatever, for local conflict.
Okay. Do I have a motion for confirmation approval of the claims?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further comments or discussion? All those in favor of confirmation approval of the claims, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is the financial report.
So you all will see in front of you a new treasurer's report for March ending, and that is because I made a mistake. I included the February ending. I printed that out in error and gave it to Sheila for distribution. So before you see the treasurer's report for March ending. There's a verified cash balance of $6,773,500. $569.42. This weekend, the 2018 regular legislative session ended, so we can now discuss a roundup of the recent action, particularly the legislation that directly impacts Bardstown City Schools. Without yet knowing the exact figures, we do have an idea of what to expect. First, the base level funding in SEEK has increased, so the formula now allocates $4,000 per student. That's an increase of $19 per student. Transportation funding is restored, and then also employee health costs will continue to be funded by the state. So just to make you aware, just a point, the transportation funding was restored, but actually it's $15 less currently in our tentative allocation than we received last year. So that's actually a net $4 per student that we're going to receive in our base SEEK funding, just to let you know.
Only in Kentucky can it be restored and be less than it was the previous year.
Also, there's increases in funding for the Family Resource Youth Services Centers, as well as the school safety program, and that affects our Safe School grant. However, preschool and ESS, that's extended school service, those cuts were upheld at 6.25% as originally proposed, and there is no funding awarded for textbooks or professional development. One item, though, that we've closely monitored is the phase-in provision for the CERS employer pension contributions, and those are the payments that we make on behalf of our classified employees. Last week, House Bill 362 passed, and that stipulates that the increases shall not be more than 12% per year for the next 10 years. So this one item should provide great relief to school districts and other government entities throughout the state. This, coupled with the increase in SEEK, the modest increase in SEEK funding, that will enable us to be in a much more positive situation than we projected several months ago. In regard to the fiscal year 19 tentative budget, yesterday KDE notified us of the SEEK forecast calculation for next year. I've reviewed those projections, and in the next couple weeks, we'll work to estimate our ending balance for all funds for this fiscal year. And then I'll meet with other central office staff, and we'll build the tentative budget based on our potential needs and staffing and programming needs for next year. So that budget will be presented to you at the regular May meeting for your approval, and then with that, the subsequent submission to KDE in order to meet the deadline of May 31st. And then the last item I have is a status update of this year's property tax collection cycle. So as of March ending, we had 120 tax bills outstanding, which is just 2% of the bills that are issued. So last year at this point, we stood at 5%. The tax sale is scheduled for this Friday at 10 a.m. and 42 of those bills have been slated for purchase by a third-party purchaser. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Board, I will tell you the bill that allows us to phase in the CERS is a major get for us. It will be very helpful to us not to have to pay all this at once, give us some flexibility. Also, we'll talk to you a little bit more down the agenda about some allocation, some positions I think Mr. Downs will share with you that's going to save us a little bit of money as well. So, anybody have anything else for Ms. Rogers?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is the superintendent report.
Superintendent's report today. We have some special guests with us, and we're going to start with Mr. Jeremy Boer. If you'll just come on up, sir. And as you know, Jeremy works at the Nelson County area ACT. He is the principal in that building and has been a pleasure to work with. And before we get started on the actual reason that he's here today, I want to thank you for your help. I can't remember exactly where we are, but when we started scheduling in January, we set a goal, the three of us together, maybe a couple of years ago, I think, and we wanted to try to have over 100 students. How many?
We have 108 spots, is that correct?
108 spots there
Wow.
next year. So we thank you for your support and your help and helping us make this dream come true. And this is something that particularly one or two board members, but the overall board is very excited about.
Yeah, I'm very appreciative, like he said. 2 years ago, we came here, and there's two things that's really happened. Since then, I just want to kind of thank you all and give you an update. The first thing was a couple months after the state announced the Work Readiness Skills Initiative, and with partnership with you all as well as the other school districts, and then some local industry, we were able to apply for that grant. We did receive that grant, which gave our students, it was a matching grant. The state contributed over $64,000 to our building, which we've been able to bring in a ton of new equipment, particularly for automotive and our electrical programs, which has really helped because our electrical program was a brand new program, and it's actually increased the enrollment there. And then in our automotive shop, he's turned out more ASE certifications, which is the industry certification, than any other program. And he has over 30, there's close to 30 students in our building right now that are ASE certified mechanics. So they're ready to go out and get a job as soon as they walk out. So thank you all for your support and your contribution to the Work Readiness Skills Initiative. And then also 2 years ago, we set a goal for 100 students, and this year, we were at 49 students that 2 years ago when we sat there. There were 49 Bardstown students that attended the ATC when I came in here 2 years ago. And last year that went up to 70. We shot for 75, so we missed it by 5. But this year, I'm pleased to announce, with the money that we received from the Work Readiness Skills Initiative and the recruiting efforts that we've done, we had 146 Bardstown students apply this coming year, and it looks like 108 are going to get seats this year. So we are really excited. We're busting at the seams, and we're thrilled to be working with you all and to educate our students to realize that it's not just go out and get a job or go out and go to college. They go hand in hand, and we try to change. We're trying to change the future of the future citizens here in Bardstown. So with me today, I brought one of our teachers. Our two clubs that we have, our two main clubs at our school, are HOSA, which is our health science program at the ATC, as well as our Skills USA. And several of our students, we had close to, I think over 40 go and compete at regional competition. Those students qualified for state, and actually about 4 different categories actually placed at state this past weekend. One of them was Bardstown owned Donovan Madison. So this is Andy Carter. He is our computer-aided drafting teacher at the ATC, and Donovan is actually one of his students. So I'm going to let him tell you a little about what they're doing and the CAD program, and as well as what they have done in Skills USA. So thank you all again.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for letting us be here today. My name's Andy Carter. Excuse me, I'm the computer drafting instructor at Nelson County ATC. We've had a busy month. As he just said, we went through our Skills USA regionals as well as we had state competition last week. At regional, we sent 7 students from our CAD class. 6 of them placed first, second, or third in their division, so we were really stoked on that. We sent 5 of those students to the state competition last Friday. Donovan, a junior here at Bardstown, and his partner Cole Beavers from Nelson County, they competed in the 3D printing presentation competition. They finished second in the state, which is really tremendous. This was our first year of competing. This is my second year of teaching. I come from an automotive engineering background. I worked in automotive for 25 years. I always wanted to teach. The opportunity came up, I took it, and so far it's really been a good thing. Donovan's one of my lead students. I'm gonna let him talk about the invention that they came up with on their own. They went through, did the presentation, developed a part. We 3D printed some models to show you exactly what we did. So Donovan, if you don't mind, we'll give them a little rundown.
This is basically just a 3-legged sawhorse. It's meant to basically completely collapse, which is something we were trying to get done, but we're just having a little bit of troubles with all the small parts. But we have both models here. We have it open, which we're working on making the legs a little bit wider so it's a lot more stable. And then we have the closed one, allowing it to fold up a lot more tighter to fit into smaller places, so you can take it with you on any kind of job and just have it with you at the site, at the work site that you're working on.
This came from our welding instructor. He runs a side business. He does field repairs for farmers, backhoes, bulldozers, things like that. And he needed some equipment that he could take into the field. He came to the students and said, "Hey, I've got an idea. You think you guys could come up with a 3-legged sawhorse?" And I said, "Yes, let's give it a try." So we went through it. It took us about a month to work out the kinks. It looked simple, but there was a lot involved in it. 2 students, they were the lead. I just kind of supported and gave them advice when they needed it, and it worked out really well. We are going to be producing some of these for him to use and hopefully to sell some for some fundraisers in the future. One thing we did do the week before Easter, and Donovan was a big part of that, Mr. Burr came up with a fundraiser for us. We went out and hid Easter eggs for families. And I took one of the 2 other students. We spent the Saturday before Easter traveling the county hiding Easter eggs for families. With enough fun so I could send them for their state competition. I felt like it was the least we could do. They deserved the opportunity for all the work that they've done, and that worked out really well. As I don't know if you're familiar, we teach both mechanical and architectural design there as well. As I said, this is our first year for 3D printing. We have one 3D printer, hoping to purchase another one over the end of the school year this year so we can get more into it. We split them, we have beginning classes, intermediate, then Donovan and his class are more advanced. They're at least 3-year students. A lot of times they're teaching me as much as I'm teaching them. He has a tremendous attitude. I rely on him pretty heavy. He's kind of like my right-hand man, and I would really like to have some more students like him from here. And I thank you for letting him attend. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Donovan, could you bring your model over so those with...
I had a question. Actually, I'm especially proud and pleased. I was a former drafting student at Nelson County. And back in those days, you were only eligible to attend the, what's called the vocational school back then, and in your junior and senior years. I think I heard you say the 3rd year?
Yes.
What year can they come there now?
They can actually come as freshmen. I actually have a Chase Hill, a freshman from Bardstown. He's in my beginning class this year. And Mr. Brewer can give you more detail on that. I think they can be there for 3 years and pretty much they meet all the classes that we teach. On their 4th year, they become more of a teacher's aide for me. I kind of let them lead the class. I also attended the vocational school when I was in high school, and that's the way we did. We went 3 periods a day.
Yes.
I was an auto mechanic, and I came back to take drafting there, and now I'm teaching the same classroom my wedding. So I really like that.
And this printer, these are obviously very expensive items to have.
For a good quality one, yes, they.
What are we talking about?
Well, the particular one we have was recommended by Bardstown Community College, the drafting department over there. It's called a MakerBot company. We paid $2,600 for ours. And again, we had a fundraiser to get the money for that. You can get them now smaller, and like they'll say, you get what you pay for. You can get some for $300 or $400, but your quality's not going to be that great. I teach the class. I'm trying to teach them about prototyping. I said my background comes from automotive engineering, engineering background. One of those things was launching new models, doing prototyping. So I'm kind of teaching them to do that. We're developing an item and then we're printing it, and then hopefully we'll have it built in the weld shop. But they can run anywhere from $300 or $400 up to as much as $10 to $15, depending on what you're wanting to do.
But you can have a 3D printer that actually physically produces a workable, usable tool. Like
Oh yes, sir.
wrench,
Absolutely. We have the capabilities to do some small tools. We're doing one now, a grappling hook for the welding department. We come up with a plastic prototype, and it's you could actually use it. But one of the things we got with our grant money, we got a plasma cutter in the weld shop now. So we're creating the tool pass, and then the plasma cutter is going to cut out the metal. We're actually going to produce some. So we're working a lot of joint efforts with the carpentry class and the weld class as well as IT class. We use our 3D modeling program last semester to create battle robots.
Yeah.
We did that for the IT class. We designed the frame, the welding class put together, the IT department wired it together, and then they went to a competition with it. So we're trying to do more joint stuff like that.
Fantastic.
Through the classes.
One of my good friends has a 3D made ankle, and it's replaced her
Yes.
defective ankle with her new. Have y'all been able, in the welding part of it, have y'all been able to fill some of those high-paying jobs that we saw, I think, last year?
I'm not real familiar with what's going on, in that department. I do know we have some co-ops that work like at RMAG and different places here in town. I'm kind of having that same issue now. I've got some opportunities, but I don't have students old enough to drive to take those opportunities yet. So I've got 4 positions right now I need to fill, and I can't fill them because the guys can't get back and forth. So they're holding those positions for me, thank goodness, because all my students are juniors, and they're all in the process of getting their learner's permits and all that. So I've got a good relationship with those companies, so I'm asking them, can you just give us a little time, and we'll provide the bodies that you need.
Some of those jobs that you had for welders, the starting salary was amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've had several companies come in and, especially welding. I talked to one last month, as a matter of fact, and they said, if you stay with this company within 5 years, you can make over $80,000 with this company. Within 10 years, it's easy to say that you may making 6 figures within less than 10 years from graduating high school.
How old do you have to be to get?
So then the conversation, and this is a conversation we've had at the state level with ATC principals, is, and it's a trend across the state, is because there's such a demand for all of our departments right now, students are actually going out as soon as they're graduating and starting at 30, 40,000 plus 50,000. So then it becomes, now we have to start embedding the soft skills into our curriculum, because if you give an 18-year-old that just graduated high school a $50,000 job welding as soon as they start, now the first thing they want to do is go out and get a extended cab 4x4 truck, put speakers in it, rims on it, everything else.
And you got a problem
keep
with that?
that financial.
Yeah, there's something wrong with
You gotta have the ability to be able to manage money.
I'm glad I'm not selling trucks. That's outstanding.
To go along with that, the company that wants our students to come work is AV Gauge down in Cox's Creek or Samuels. It used to be Synergy Tool and Die. They're not really calling it a co-op, they're calling it a part-time position for their definition, but they're going to start them out about $12 an hour. And that's why they're juniors and seniors in high school. So to me, that's tremendous, because they're not, they don't have a degree yet, and they're not certified, but they will be certified by the time they leave. So that's pretty good money for starting. When I first graduated from Louisville Tech years ago, I took my first drafting job, made $9 an hour, and I thought that was big money. So, they're already ahead of the game. So the opportunities are there, and we're doing our best to fill them.
Great work.
Great.
Good job. Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. Tom, keep up the great work.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Again,
say, like he was talking about with the grant he was talking about, thank you so much, because without that, we wouldn't have had this 3D printer, we wouldn't have been able to do any of this competition at all.
Our pleasure.
Glad to participate. And we so much appreciate the relationship that we have with the Area Technology Center. Thank you all so much. Board members, if you will check, there's a few items in your activity page there. There's several items, but only a couple of them I called to your attention. We will be in session on May the 4th, which was the day that we had set aside as a makeup day, Oaks Day. The calendar worked out perfect this year for us. The number of snow days that we missed and so forth. We will be in session on that day, and then we will get out at the time that we had scheduled, which would be the last day for students will be on June the 1st. And then just to remind you that graduation is on June the 2nd at Garnis Martin Field. That will be at 11 a.m. as we have done in the past. We'll get a little closer to that. Mr. Downs will send you a letter with some details on pickups and get you to the field and that kind of thing, and other details. We have an activity on Thursday you'll want to be sure to be here for. We'll be conducting some interviews, and the start time for this has changed to 10 o'clock. Please be in the Smotherman room at 10 a.m. That's a small conference room that we have across the hall, and then your interviews will begin at 10:30. And that's been a slight change. Also, call to your attention the special call meeting on Friday at noon. That meeting will be in this room, and again, it will be at noon. And I think that's all I have for you on that. Anyone have a question? We've had a lot of dates recently. Anyone have a question on a date that can clear up anything? Okay. All right. With that being said, that concludes our superintendent's report today.
Okay, our next item is the recognition of any visitors. Don't think we have any. So then we'll move on to item number 6, which is our fiscal year 2018 pay date schedule.
Now, if you will take a look at that document there in your packet, this is the monthly payroll schedule. In our board policy in Chapter 3, you will notice that we are required each year to approve our pay dates. And so how we arrive at these dates is very simple. It's the last working day of each month. And so with that being said, what I ask you to do is to take a look at, and if you're in agreement, to approve the pay dates for the 2018-2019 school year.
And these are in line as how they usually
Yes,
are, right?
it's very normal, yes,
Okay.
very much the same. Typically, the last business day of the month.
Of the month.
What is the distinction on the July 31st for the 260-day employees only? What is the distinction?
If you're a 260-day employee, you receive 12 checks. If you need any clarification on that, feel free to do so.
I'm sorry. So if you work year-round, you're on year-round schedule, you're paid July through June. If you work less than that calendar year, such as a teacher or an instructional assistant, your first check starts in August, and you get 2 checks in June.
Okay, and they don't float that over a 12-month period to balance it out? It's based on 9 months?
12 checks, but
12 checks, right.
but in 10 months' time.
Oh, I see, okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Do I have a motion for approval of the fiscal year 2018 payday schedule?
Make motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Third.
Any further comments or discussion? All those in favor of the fiscal year 2018 pay date schedule, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is the audit consultation services agreement.
Okay, you'll notice this document in your packet as well. This is the reason we do this is it was recommended a few years ago, best practice by our auditor. At that time, we have a third party come in to help us basically with our annual financial report, Ms. Betty Pendergrass. Won't you come on up, because we're not going to have you here and not give you an opportunity to speak to us. She prepares the AFR for us, also a draft basic financial statements in accordance to GASB. She does some final audit adjustments for us once we figure those out through the auditor. Betty, is there anything else you want to add to your services that you provide for us?
I'm kind of on call during the year for questions that come up during the year. We have found that if something unusual comes up in the financial issues, it's easier for Tracy to give me a call, and we work through it while it's fresh on everybody's mind. So my contract includes a number of hours during the year where she can call me when she has a particular issue.
10 hours of consulting also, that she's speaking of. And her fee, which has not changed for the past 3 years, is a flat rate of $4,000. And I can assure you from a finance standpoint as well, money that's well spent.
I give you the family discount since I'm Bardstown graduate.
There you go. We love it. We love that word family around here, and we love discount. Thank you. Any questions on?
Any questions on?
The contract is very similar to the past 2 years that you've seen.
All right, so if we're ready for a motion for approval of the audit consultation services,
So moved.
is there a second? All those in favor of the audit consultant services agreement, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is the staffing allocation.
And first of all, I want to apologize that you didn't get it in your packet on Friday because we didn't know what the budget was going to be until Saturday night. And so we came in on Monday and made sure that we put it all together from what we knew. And one of the really good things about the staffing allocation this time is that we were able to maintain everything that we had. We didn't have to cut any positions, and through some attrition with our some retirements, we're going to be able to save some positions because the way the numbers worked out in some of the schools, we were able to do with less teachers in the elementary. We were going to be able to move some from the primary, so it all worked out to where we may have a total savings of about 4 spots, but we were still able to maintain every one of our programs. So we're real happy with that. All of our extra programs, our PE, our strings, our STEAM academies, all those things were able to stay intact. The only thing that you'll see that's missing from the allocation is a professional development budget because we got 0 for that. Now, that's not to say that we won't do professional development. We still have the 4 days of professional development that we require to do. that we will do those, but we will just pay for those as they
What was
come
that number
through.
last year, Mr. Downs?
That's a good question. Let me try to, we did so much per student, and it's usually around 4,000 or 5,000 a school.
Okay, so it's significant money.
It's pretty good money. But we always did some supplementing out of the general fund a little bit for that too. But one of the good things about it now is we have a lot of experts within the staff, with all the training we've done since Senate Bill 1, there's a lot of expertise within our own community. So we don't have to pay a lot for people to come in, and we can do a lot of professional development within our own schools. So that's a big plus of the training.
To give you one other example too, Mr. Stone, we're doing some active shooter training, Alice training. The Kentucky State Police are going to do that free of charge for us. And there's an afternoon event that works with that as well. So, you know, we're finding important things that are come with good prices, which is zero. Great.
And like I said, a lot of our instructional practices that we're working on, we have expertise within the buildings, within the principals. Mr. Beck and Ms. Pauley both are very adept at providing training to the staff. So we were able to send, they were gone today actually to our district service coordinator meeting where they get a lot of expertise from that to bring back to the staff. So it is a loss of money as far as coming from the state, but we'll be able to make it work. But what I'm really pleased today is to be able to tell you that we were able to maintain all of our programs. Not having to pay that CERS bill in one shot really did save the allocations.
What was that amount again? For CERS, I should have.
It was 400,000 plus.
That's in addition to we were already paying.
Yes, it was 1.2 total.
Yeah.
Right, Trace? We're already paying 800, and it was going to be another 400 right on top of it, which we would have had to do a lot of rearranging on our allocations. But thankfully, that went through.
That is the budget that was passed, that's a 2-year thing, right?
Right.
On a 2-year cycle?
Right, two
Okay,
years.
yeah. So we don't have to worry about it for 2 years in theory.
Yeah, and it could change in a couple of years,
Right,
but
right.
but for now, it's at 12% over 10 years.
Yeah, there you go, thank you.
So that was.
No staffing allocation for the early childhood?
No, it's not required through, staffing allocations have to go through site councils, and early childhood doesn't. But we fund the early childhood by whatever it needs.
For example, there's not seed money set aside for the early childhood. We do that at our cost.
Right. And of course, as you know, money well spent.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Did Tracy say that ESL was cut? Did I hear-
ESS got cut some, but there's still money
ESS.
in the ESS.
No, there's nothing.
We didn't find that in there?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, there was a question about that earlier today.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm sorry, you're correct.
29, I think we got 29.6 million put into that, I'm thinking.
6.25% is
Cut.
cut, as well as preschool.
Yeah,
That's for the state, not for our district.
right. It got cut, ESS got cut, but there's still ESS money.
Okay.
And those are in our flexible focus funds, and we distribute those at the beginning of the year, once we find out what that number is
Okay.
for us, yeah. So it got cut a little bit, but there's still money in there.
Those two combined, though, preschool's a pretty good chunk of money, so those two combined is going to be about $40,000, the cut that we'll recognize for preschool and ESS.
All right. So as you heard earlier, we get it on one side and
Right.
they take it away on the other side. But it all works out. The good thing about it is we're still going to be able to maintain what we do for the students that we have, which is excellent. And so we're very pleased to present these staffing allocations to you today. And then what we'll do is we'll get these to their site councils. They have to be to them before May 1st, the final. And so that lets them plan for what their needs are going to be. And we always, another thing too, we always go above and beyond the allocation, because the related art piece that you see up in the corner of these things, you don't have to have those. The only thing that you have to have are the to meet the caps, enough teachers to meet the cap size of the number of students. You have to have a principal and you have to have a librarian. Everything after that is extra outside the formula. And this district has always been known to go outside the formula and provide what we need for the whole child.
The difference between related arts and itinerant?
Itinerant serves several buildings, is why we put it in that, you know, there's a point.
Right.
Yeah, so they might work in the elementary part-time, they serve elementary students, they serve middle school students, they serve high school students, and so they work between buildings is why we do that. The related art itself is just in that building. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the 2018, or 2019 SBDM staffing allocation.
All right. Do I have a second? Did I hear a second? I missed the second.
I'll second.
You
I'll
did a
second,
second,
yes.
okay. All right. Any further comments or discussion? All those in favor of approval of the 2018-2019 staffing allocation, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. Next item is the emergency substitute certification.
This is just a quick reminder, back in 2012 and 13, they changed the system to where all substitutes had to go through the standards board. And so they have to get a certificate through the standards board. And so what we have to do each spring is to get a board order number in order to process those substitutes. So what happens is, once somebody comes in and applies for a substitute job, we put their packet together, it goes to the standards board, they reference our board order number, so that, I don't know if some of you may remember in the past, every month, we would approve substitute teachers.
Yeah.
And so this just saves us from having to do that, and it'll last from now till the next spring. Is basically all this is asking for today.
All right, do I have a motion for approval of the emergency substitute certification?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further comments or discussion? All those in favor of the emergency substitute certification, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Downs.
you, Mr. Downs.
Next item is the leave of absence request.
We have two of these in your packet today. One is a maternity leave. Ms. Harris, Ms. Oliver is asking for leave for an illness that she has. So both of them will be using the Family Medical Leave Act, be using their sick days and then the Family Medical Leave Act, and everything is in good order.
Do I have a motion for the leave of absence request?
I move we approve the leave of absence request.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor of the leave of absence request, state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. The retirement resignation?
I'll just make you aware of those. They're in your packet. We do have a few of those to take a look at there and make you aware of those.
And then the site-based council minutes are in your packet for your review. And then Mr. Roby asked for us to stay longer today. Oh, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
There you go.
Jennifer,
You've been overruled.
you managed to beat.
Might be a world record.
When Smother was here and I was chairman, we
I don't know how you
had
could go faster than that.
45 minutes. You beat it by 5 minutes.
It's a world record.
I'm the record keeper.
Call Guinness.
Light agenda today.
That's all right, we got all week, so, you know.
Yeah, you got plenty of work to do. I'm trying to keep that in mind.